All right, we got those picks and bans ready for you here. There's going to be Astral Authority versus SOAR. Right off the bat here, we're seeing that Scotty banned out. No surprise there, but based on these two teams, what's going to be a high-value pickup here?
Against Astral, man, there's no limit to what they're going to pick against you. I'll tell you what was it, last week they played Loki support. I mean, that's what they're going to do to you. It's so hard to pick and ban against Astral Authority, and one of the reasons why they're so difficult to go up against is Thoth and Odin, the second two bans. Going to go with a pretty standard first pick, though, Cucullin. This could be for Chaotic Purpose in the jungle, or, of course, for Wolves and Solo.
We also saw Thoth and Odin banned out there, too, so wanted to make sure that Shalbro on there and SOAR wouldn't be able to pilot that Thoth there to a high level, as SOAR goes ahead and picks up Sun Wukong to give him a lot of presence there, likely out of the solo lane.
And the Chronos for Keegs in that duo lane, one of his comfort picks. Known for his Chronos play, always has been ever since he came over to the console scene. Had a really good showing on it in week 1. We'll see if he can do the same here in week 2. But an early Awilix pick pairs well with the knockup from Cucullin, but this is one of Chaotic Purpose's signature junglers. I mean, he just loves playing this god, loves gods that can give him early pressure, and then he can help snowball the lead very early.
Yeah, and that early pressure is going to help Freya out here a lot. The Freya going to be picked up for Astral Authority, and then Osiris coming in for SOAR. So we're thinking Osiris jungle, Wukong solo here? I
think it's probably Osiris jungle. I think that Osiris brings a little bit more to the jungle than Sun Wukong does.
Yeah.
But knowing SOAR, I mean, Stormy's going to say, I can play whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It's a matter of whatever Relating wants to play in the jungle.
SOAR does go ahead and ban out Geb and Hebo here. Geb very good at keeping characters like Awilix and Freya safe, so making sure that that's not going to be available. Then Ra and Robin banned out there for Astral Authority, so taking a bit of a look there at the mid lane.
Terra still on the table, I was going to say, and SOAR is going to take it very, very late in the draft, and you know they're okay with that. Medieval Doc taking that for himself. It's going to be Guan Yu for Astral Authority. I expect that's going to be support for Brochacho, very well-versed on that character. That Freya could be in the mid lane for Covey, but no, it is going to go to Transonics. Instead, it's going to be Covey on the Vulcan.
And that's even more setup here for that Awilix is Vulcan, the knock up there on, or we like to call it colloquially, the meatball there for him, but definitely good setup there for Awilix and Guan Yu to match a little bit of that sustain from Terra and Hu Yi. Final pick up there from SOAR. We saw some good Hu Yi and Terra Wall combos earlier here,
Could be Hu Yi for Keegs mate. Another one of his signature characters could be Chronos in that mid lane, or you could put Hu Yi mid. I mean, either way, you can make that composition sort of work. It's just a matter of what Shalbro is going to be more comfortable on, because Keegs is going to be comfortable on both of these characters. He's well-versed in that ADC role. It's going to be, it looks like we had a little bit of a misclick there. It's going to be Raijin in that mid lane instead. So it is going to be Keegs on the Chronos, as we expected at the earlier part of that draft. But Shalbro going a little bit more traditional, a little bit more in his wheelhouse with the Raijin.
And Raijin, we're seeing a lot more from him early. He's so good at clearing the wave there, especially early in the game. That's something that gives him a lot of pressure there in the mid lane. It's what makes Raijin so strong. So that's what Shalbro is going to be trying to take advantage of here early.
And he's certainly going to be out clearing Covey. Vulcan, not the best early clear. Really not very good team fight damage either until the mid to late game. So look for SOAR to try and push this lead early. The problem is that Astral is kind of built to combat that with the Guan Yu in the support role, with the Awilix in the jungle. They've got things that can fight early as well, while Astral has a much better late game composition than SOAR Gaming does. You're really only looking at Keegs for the late game for SOAR. Raijin's still going to do good damage come late, but not as much in terms of what he's going to be able to output over Covey in the early stages. So look for SOAR Gaming to try and push their lead early with the two warriors in the jungle and solo on the right side of the map, and look for Astral Authority to play passive and just wait for SOAR to make mistakes.
And they do end up letting Relating take that Sun Wukong into the jungle here too, and Stormy Rays is going to have Osiris there in the solo role as Chaotic Purpose, taking a lot of early damage here. That slow coming out from Stormy Rays is very potent to help her lock him down. Actually, early beads coming out to try and stay alive here, but he gets taken down very early by Stormy Rays. So a lot of relics used on the side of Astral Authority, and they still end up dropping the kill.
There aren't many compositions that Awilix can't fight early, but Osiris Sun Wukong is one of them. You cannot fight in that scenario. That perma-slow too strong.
And we're actually seeing the Horrific Emblem come out over here. That's going to force out the Aegis from Keegs. Wall coming out to try and stun and get a bunch of good damage back onto Brochacho. So strong trade there in that dual lane as well.
Wolves made the transformation and now punishing Stormy Rays, just giving KP enough space to secure his own speed buff, and that's pretty important. KP's already behind. He got first blooded. He used the purification beads. He needs that speed buff in order to rotate around and pick up these back harpies as quickly as possible. Both buffs on the left-hand side of the map are up, and so that means that Chaotic Purpose is going to have a lot of farm available to him to catch up to Relating in this jungle role, because SOAR's duo lane in mid took those left side buffs, whereas Astral Authorities hasn't yet. So there's plenty of farm available for Chaotic Purpose to catch up quickly here, but instead he's heading back over to the solo.
That pressure for Astral Authority in the dual lane works out as well, as they do secure those oracles on the left-hand side. More Wolves, though, staying aggressive and getting some poke back from SOAR Gaming, but over here on the left, still playing aggressive as Astral Authority, trying to keep off Medieval and Duck and Keeks, who are down in their jungle trying to contest this purple buff here as it spawns. I
like this idea. Keep the Freya down while you can, because once she gets a couple items online, all hope of that is pretty much lost. Very surprised to see Chaotic Purpose on the right side of the map. I mean, that's his MO. He spends so much time with Wolves because they do stuff like this.
Yeah, Stormy Rays taken down very quickly here by more Wolves. So a good job by Astral Authority evening out that kill count here early. And I know we're talking a little bit here about Freya and Chronos. Since we don't have the traditional ADCs here in this matchup, how do Freya and Chronos then kind of match up as the game progresses?
This matchup can be it's pretty much a coin flip. It's which player is going to play better. It's pretty skill dependent matchup between these two. Both have kill potential on the other. Chronos, if I had to give an edge to one, Chronos can bait out that Valkyrie's Discretion, hit the rewind, and then he's got full health and a full set of cooldowns, and Freya's sitting there watching him. But Freya, if Transonics is accurate, if Keysmay doesn't respect the damage coming out of the Freya, may find the kill before rewind ever even comes out. So it's really pretty skill dependent in that lane.
And a lot of the times for Chronos in particular, with that Sands of Time, it can come down to how well you're getting that poke out, because your cooldowns can be very, very low very early. We see just a tiny lead there as Transonics was able to hit 5 there first, but it's all evened out over there on that left-hand side, as that wave does get kind of pushed a little bit in on Transonics.
And this is what you can expect for Astral Authority. They basically play the pre-season 1 2-1-2 meta. That's basically what you can expect against Astral Authority. Chaotic Purpose is going to be with Wolves on the right side of the map. Kovi's going to be alone, and Brochacho and Transonics are going to be on that left side. Now, there are times where Brochacho will go to the mid lane, and they leave Transonics alone, but you can basically guarantee that Chaotic Purpose is going to be with Wolves most of the time in the early game.
Once again, Relating, trying to put pressure here onto More Wolves, but More Wolves goes into the Rage and drops his ultimate out just to deter any aggression. Astral Authority deep into SOAR's jungle on the left-hand side, but Relating now the one in a little bit of trouble. Up into the ultimate very quickly, and Stormy Rays gets pulled back in by Chaotic Purpose, and Kovi takes credit.
Again, you can expect to have your jungle on the right side of the map. Now Brochacho's in some trouble with Transonics, but two well-timed ultimates immune Shalibers.
Yeah, Shalibur up into the ult to try and put down damage on the Brochacho, but it's Transonics the one who's trying to use the Gold Fury as a bit of a shield here, but it gets pulled out, and Transonics takes a trip back to base. Things still 2 for 2, but now Brochacho in trouble. Lots of damage from that root coming out, but it's not going to be enough. Brochacho able to get out.
Brochacho tried to get in there and use the meditation, doubling down on the healing. A little bit surprising. I think that probably would have been a little bit wiser to go for Shell. Meditation has moments in the game where it's actually statistically stronger than Shell and how much it provides for your team, but against the Guan Yu, SOAR Gaming's probably already going to be going for anti-heal. They're already going to be itemizing against that heal that Brochacho has in his kit. The meditation is affected by that anti-heal, so Shell would not be in that scenario. Brochacho kind of doubling down on it means that if SOAR doesn't go for anti-heal, then it's doubly good. But if they do, then two parts of what Brochacho wants to do between the meditation and that conviction heal are going to be a little bit weaker.
And that fight broke out right before those oracles pulled up on the left-hand side. Shalibur ends up going a little bit more towards the solo side jungle, so Kovi's able to rotate over and just take them for free on the left-hand side. So that's one more small win in favor of Astral Authority.
And it was 1 for 1 on both sides of the map, but Kovi's the one who gets the kill, whereas Shalibur only gets 2 assists. So a little bit of an edge for Kovi, who's gone for this Warlock Sash rush, really playing for that mid to late game. He understands that he's not going to be able to make an impact at this stage. That's Shalibur's time to shine. May as well bide your time, get a little bit stronger, a little bit healthier for those later stages.
SOAR take the Fire Elementals on the right-hand side again. They're there almost as soon as they spawn to make sure they're taking control of that farm on the right side of the map. A lot of that coming from Stormy Rays doing a good job over there against Wolves and getting plenty of help from Relating, who's been over there a lot.
And despite how many deaths Stormy Rays has already, both deaths inside of SOAR onto Stormy Rays, who needs to be careful he doesn't take a third here, because Wolves pretty close to that transformation. He's willing to fight this pretty well in that solo lane, but Stormy giving it as good as he got. This is a matchup that you expect both players to be aggressive in, and despite Stormy taking a couple kills, pretty close in farm.
Brochacho committing the ultimate here onto Keegs. Does get the stun out, but the Aegis already came out from Keegs. Knockup does set up the ultimate here from Chaotic Purpose, but the rewind comes out just in time to keep Keegs alive and fighting. Now it's Astral Authority who are on the run as Keegs tries to put a little damage. Ultimate from Covey came out, but luckily SOAR already backed off.
Covey just shooting that in case the chase continued from SOAR, and it was Medieval Doc's ultimate that actually ends up saving Keegs' mate there, because that Terra's Blessing heal comes through right as the Feather Step was about to end Keegs' mate's life. That was good damage calculation by Astral and good chain CC from Chaotic Purpose in particular. He had the exact right amount of damage to find that kill before Rewind went off. It's just that you don't factor in that Terra's Blessing heal, and that's what allows Keegs' mate to survive.
And El Brochacho getting the best out of playing this Guan Yu support over here too. Whenever he sees Keegs made a little bit up in that lane, he really wasn't that far out of position or anything. He goes into that Guan Yu ultimate and tries to set up the kill. Even had Covey rotating over to try and help finish it off there too. So they're getting the most out of the aggressive support.
And that's what Brochacho loves to do. Play aggressive, play up into the enemy hunter's face, punish them. They even get close to the wrong side of the map. And with something like Chronos that doesn't have a leap, doesn't have a dash, yeah, you get some increased movement speed from Accelerate, but not nearly as much as Brochacho was going to have on that Cavalry Charge horse. Plus, don't forget the Talaria boots, giving him increased movement speed out of combat. He doesn't put himself in combat during that ultimate, so he's got that increased movement speed, at least until he swings or gets hit.
Covey just recently back there in the mid lane, as there is farm coming up on the left-hand side in the form of both those Oracles and those mid Harpies. So he'll be a little bit refreshed, even maybe purchase, a little more wards. He does have the Sentry. That might give them an advantage over here on this left-hand side, as there is farm coming up on this side of the map.
And Covey's finished off those penetration boots as well, so now he can start to make the big impact. He's already over halfway done, 60% of the way on these Warlock Sash stacks. And to be at that point, but even before 9 minutes, is a great spot for anyone who's going to be building this Warlock Sash. Usually your kind of gauge tool is, if you build boots first, you want to finish your Warlock Sash before 12 minutes. 12 minutes is like the, okay, this is when it needs to be done by sort of mark. Covey could be done stacking it by that mark.
Those Oracles do end up going the way of SOAR on the left-hand side, so Covey not able to get over there and have an impact in time. They just grouped as 3 and went ahead and took those down. Covey, though, with those boots finished out, hasn't been under a whole lot of pressure from relating so far. Feels like his impact mostly has been kind of on that solo lane side, so good he was able to get those boots finished off. When relating does start coming over here and trying to torment him in the mid lane, he'll be just that much more safe.
Relating hasn't been able to pressure anywhere, really, because of the early pressure that Chaotic Purpose put on the right side of the map, but even still, I think I'd like to see a little bit more aggression from a warrior jungle such as Sun Wukong. You're not picking it to wait for the mid game. You're picking it to really put pressure on the opposition in the early game, and I know Awilish sort of fills that same role, but the idea is that Sun Wukong is going to be able to take a little bit more punishment than Awilish will be able to. May as well put it to the test.
More Wolves ends up going here with that Mark of the Vanguard, something you see a lot of the times against Kakullen, as Transonics takes a lot of damage from Keegs. Keegs just a little bit off the mark there. I think that it didn't come off cooldown in time, but that's enough of a rotation from Brochacho and Chaotic Purpose. Brochacho immediately goes into the stun, not able to quite get the knock-up onto Keegs, but force him to rewind down into Transonics, who immediately goes up at that Valkyrie's discretion and starts raining in damage, but Medieval Doc's here to try and end the chase.
Covey throws the ultimate, but doesn't get a big impact out of it. Chalibur gets hit by that knock-up, but Covey's forced to use the Purification Beads because Medieval Doc was right in front of him. Good rotation from Astral Authority and puts Keegs in a bad spot, but I'd like to see Brochacho just back up. As soon as he finds that stun, you know Keegs' mate's going to be looking for the rewind. Walk back towards the tower because Transonics was the only one waiting for him, and it was really dependent on Trans finding that whoop if Astral was going to get that kill. I don't know if Brochacho gets there in time, even if he just turns and runs right back towards Transonics at the beginning, but at some point you have to leave Chaotic Purpose to try and finish off that kill all on his own. It's just unfortunate that Transonics got so poked out in that lane beforehand. That's the real difference maker. Keegs with a 2-level lead over Trans right now.
And Medieval Doc doing a great job at the end of that engagement, taking those beads away from Covey too. At that point, there really wasn't going to be a whole lot of follow-up from that wall stun, but there's really no way for Covey to know, so he's got to commit those beads. So even though Medieval Doc was mostly just trying to make sure that Transonics got out of there okay, also turned into a bit of a win for him in the mid lane by taking out Covey's beads.
Definitely a ward advantage for SOAR, and that you're exactly right. Covey doesn't have the information to know if he needs to use purification beads in that scenario. I think only one ward on the map for the moment for Astral Authority, so SOAR definitely has the information advantage in the jungle, and that's why you see them start to posture around this gold.
Yeah, they do take both these oracles here, adding more vision onto the pile. Here at just about 12 minutes of the game, it is 2-2 here in the kills, and looking to add a little bit more is Shaliber, who's in the ultimate, putting down the damage on Covey with Relating, establishing a front line, but they got to back off. But Transonics in a lot of trouble once again, taking a bit of a 1v1 against Keegs, forcing out the ultimate, gets the whoop onto Relating, and that's pretty important for keeping Transonics alive. Now in the Valkyrie's discretion and backing up, but Chaotic Purpose still trying to go in on Relating.
Covey uses the backfire to get out of range of Keegs' abilities, and now Terra's Blessing used by Medieval Doc. Great play by Transonics to stay alive in that situation. And here comes Wolves, pretty close to that transformation for him.
More Wolves was not ready to give up on. He commits the ultimate, trying to knock up Shaliber, but Shaliber uses his dash to get out. Now Relating is here fighting two on the back. Brochacho using that Talu Assault, and the ultimate from Covey is not enough, but Shaliber takes down Chaotic Purpose here on the back end of the fight.
Stormy Rays up and down with the ultimate, looking for Wolves, who now finds that transformation. Three-man Warcry, and Keegs gonna fall. Doc very low as well, as Wolves tries to find the last in-hand to get the job done.
More Wolves is ticking and ticking towards Medieval Doc, who's just barely clinging to life with about 1 HP. Relating does take down more Wolves, who was chasing Medieval Doc for just a little bit too long. Ends up out of position, but Transonics, with those AoE tennis ball she shoots out, takes down Relating.
Covey looking for it, but can't find the backfire off the knockup. So at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-2, I believe. Chaotic Purpose fell in the midst of all that damage. Transonics comes back with that innate lifesteal from Freya and those heals from Brochacho. Now they're looking for the Gold Fury as Covey tries to zone away the enemy.
And Shaliber's ultimate just came back online too, so he'll definitely be able to contest this Gold Fury as it's down to about 20%. But Chaotic Purpose comes around perfectly to keep Shaliber from having an impact, and they also get the ultimate from Brochacho to stun out Stormy Rays, and Covey gets the credit, and then Chaotic Purpose securing the Gold Fury. That was excellent.
Love what KP does there. Could he have gone to the Gold Fury and just tried to DPS with the rest of his team? Sure, I think a lot of players would have done that. But instead, he just knows that if he forces everyone else away, namely Shaliber, who had that ultimate up, that's your main contention point for SOAR. So he forces Shaliber away. Shaliber could have gone up into the Taiko drums, and I think a lot of fans may have expected him to do so, but if Chaotic Purpose just hits one auto at a feather step, Shaliber's dead. Doesn't matter if he's in that CC immune ultimate or not. Wise choice by him to leap away instead. Just a good play from Chaotic Purpose. And you can't blame Stormy Rays for getting in there and trying to steal it away on that 50-50 with the two, but ends up not going SOAR's way.
After securing the 1-for-0 kill there, Astral Authority and the Gold Fury, they're now about 500 or so gold up, so they've been able to reclaim that lead in both the kill count and in the actual gold count. So very important fight from Astral Authority. Taking a look down here at some of these levels, it looks like Covey's still holding on to a bit of an experienced lead there, but it's actually Keegs who's up over Transonics.
It has been basically all game long as Covey launches the ultimate just to force SOAR off those oracles, still gets split down the middle.
Now it's Relating going in for the Tiger Stun onto El Brochacho, but very tanky is Brochacho, and he backs off. Transonics coming in the back and trying to blow up Keegs. He does at least force out the ultimate, and the Horrific Emblem comes out as well. Double knockup from Chaotic Purpose is pretty big to force out the ultimate from Relating, who's already up in that Somersault Cloud. Medieval Doc drops his ultimate as well and gets off the root onto two members, and Relating comes back in from the Somersault Cloud to put out damage. Transonics immediately starts blowing them up and just barely doesn't have enough damage. Neither does Shaliber to try and take down Transonics. Keegs does get Transonics up at the top end, though. Excellent job taking down Transonics.
Really nice time rift up over the wall. Trans just misses one shot out of that Valkyrie's discretion, and that spells Relating's escape. Even if he gets Relating there, though, don't know if that ends up being worth it for Astral Authority's Hunter. You really want your Freya to get as much free farm as possible. Getting a kill there, sure, that boosts his farm total, but he still would have been on the bench for 20 seconds while Keeg gets more and more farm ahead of him.
Yeah, that trade ends up being 1-for-0 in favor of SOAR Gaming there. So important to help try and equalize the very small lead Astral Authority had after that good fight over there over at the Gold Fury. So now things are all but even in the gold mark, but it's experience that's still pretty heavily in favor of SOAR Gaming.
And again, this is what SOAR really wants, is to get a slight lead. They probably prefer a bigger one, but they need a lead of some sort with this draft that they have. Astral Authority, you can really say the same about, though. As I mentioned, a Willish in the early game, that's when she's going to be doing most of her work. However, Astral has drafted enough setup for Chaotic Purpose in the late game that even if KP doesn't get off to a roaring start, which he hasn't in this game, 0, 2, and 4, even with relating in that jungle, he still has the option to make an impact in the late game. So look for Chaotic Purpose to just play around his team a little bit more. Look for those cheeky over-the-wall knockups with the Moonlit Charge and trying to pull people from SOAR out of position, because characters like Relating on the Sun Wukong who have foregone the Purification beads, that can be an easy pull-in and potentially even a kill before he can get that Somersault Cloud off.
Now, Keegs has the Wing Blade here in this game on Chronos. I know last game we saw Chronos being played. Actually, they went with that Relic Dagger instead. What's a little bit about the decision-making between going for Relic Dagger or the Wing Blade? Because they both give kind of similar stuff.
It's the fact that Astral Authority has a lot more slows this time around than when we saw Keegs pick up the Relic Dagger in the last time he played Chronos. There weren't a lot of slows on the opposite side. Now he has to worry about Pulse from Freya. He has to worry about the dash and the ultimate from Brochacho. So you want to make sure that you're getting away from those slows, especially the one from Transonics in lane.
Yeah, even Horrific Emblem there as Keegs gets whooped up by Transonics, who's trying to put in some damage. Brochacho waiting in the wings, as he's done a lot here this game, but Keegs backs off so that he doesn't have to worry about that aggression. But that's been Brochacho's MO, it feels like, waiting over there in that left side jungle to try and put some pressure on Keegs.
Brochacho very familiar with how Keegs likes to play those lanes, lane together for quite some time on the old SOAR roster, now very different from when Brochacho was on it, but these two were teammates for a while. They understand how the other plays pretty well, and both are very talented players.
SOAR once again take the Oracles, and this time it's especially important because we're only about 27 seconds away from that Gold Fury respawning again, so some uncounterable vision they'll have there on that left-hand side of the map. Chaotic Purpose, though, hanging around, trying to see if Stormy Rays will commit a little bit further there to more Wolves, but he doesn't, hangs back close to the tower, and Chaotic Purpose goes back looking for more farm.
And hanging out on the left side of the map, probably the right call for Chaotic Purpose, and relating with that Gold Fury coming up soon. And leave that blue buff stolen away by Wolves, despite the Hand of the Gods from Stormy was a little premature, so Wolves strips a little bit of farm away from Stormy, also denying him that blue buff. And while Osiris doesn't really care too much about the mana, mostly using his auto attacks for the damage, does affect that CDR that blue buff gives you.
Portal Demon being pulled here by Astral Authority. Relating, using that knock-up there to try and get in, but Covey drops the ultimate over the top, and that is going to be enough for them to secure it, but Stormy Rays is going in, trying to get a little bit more out of it. Brochacho using the ultimate just to try and get away, but now it's Covey who's staring down Stormy Rays and Relating, who secured that kill. And now it's actually Shallow who's in trouble in the back, and more Wolves now. Horrific Emblem comes out from a Medieval Dock, and you can see just how slow Wolves is now. He's caught out by 5 members, even the Fire Giant getting pulled here, putting some damage onto the back end of SOAR Gaming, and that's actually enough time for Brochacho and the rest of Astral Authority to rotate into the fight.
They get that portal, and then they use it to come back. Now Transonics is in the midst of this fight, doing lots of damage to Stormy Rays. Trans gonna find that kill, and Shalabur's got to get away with 1 HP.
Good job dashing out there because Transonic saw blood. He was going to go in for Shalibur there as well, but able to avoid the rest of the damage. Medieval Dock now getting slowed, avoids the whoop, and manages not to get caught out there. So nice job, Medieval Dock, hesitating just a step.
Relating, could be in some trouble under this mid towers. Brochacho goes underneath it, but just as a quicker path towards the Gold Fury as Astral Authority have that 4-on-5 advantage in their favor, but with Wolves on the right-hand side of the map, really could become a 4v4 pretty quickly.
Keegs' beads forced out at the very beginning here of this engagement. Relating, trying to get the knock-up on the Transonics, but actually a little bit off the mark. And Transonics has turned into a bit of a beast here in this match. No one can stand toe-to-toe with him right now. He's shredding.
And that's exactly what you expect from Transonics. He's even down a level to Keegs still, and Freya damage, man, it's crazy. Hasten
it's pretty good.
Demonic Grip. He's got plenty of attack speed and has been using that hasten ring passive beautifully.
Asheville Authority got the Gold Fury started up. Covey used the ultimate too soon, so he wasn't able to be there for the secure. Shaliber was up in the air, but Covey still ends up securing the Gold Fury in favor of Asheville Authority, which pushes that gold lead even further out. But Transonics, who knows how big he is rotating around the back, trying to find a way to put some damage in. More Wolves able to take out Shaliber, and now it's Transonics dueling up against Medieval Doc and relating with the help of his big solo laner.
This is classic Transonic coming around the back of a team fight, but now he's meeting Stormy Rays. Gets the Aegis out as Relating gets pulled back in, but KP off the mark with the Feather Step. Keegs has returned, a big knockup from Wolves, but it can't save the life of Transonics.
Transonics just trying to stay close to his teammates there as Stormy Rays jumps over the top to Covey. He could see that he was low, not able to hit the slow out, which would have been instrumental in securing that kill, but more Wolves, who was left on the back end, now has 4 members in red jerseys around him. Not able to get the stun is Relating, and more Wolves goes into that rage form. So now he's the one running the team fight. He gets out. Wise
choice by Relating. Even a 4v1 that you got to be careful there as Wolves continues to put pressure onto Keegs. Not a lot of damage onto the Hunter Kronos, but with the heals from Brochacho, Wolves knows he's in no danger of dying here.
SOAR dropping Transonics in that fight does at least even up the kill count as SOAR Gaming take those oracles. It's now 7-7. Asheville Authority, though, still holding on to about a 2,500 gold lead now at 21 minutes here into the map. And that experience lead we talked about earlier, all but normalized here at this point in the game.
And it's Asheville Authority now in the lead because of that Gold Fury, as you mentioned. Covey a little bit late, or early, I should say, with the secure, with that Vulcan ultimate, but ends up not mattering because he secures it in the end. And this is where this late game for Astral Authority can really start to shine. Covey's got a 2-level lead. He's working towards what's probably going to be a Book of Thoth, I guess. Soul Reaver not really picked up too often these days, but 5th item Book of Thoth doesn't really excite me too much. I think I would have rather seen a Rod of Tahuti in this 5th item slot. I do really like Transonics delaying Rod of Tahuti, though, to go for Bancrofts, because Trans is getting into the thick of things, getting low, boxing it out, using that lifesteal that Freya's passive provides, but also could use that extra power for when he falls low from Bancrofts.
Medieval Doc already had to use the ultimate here as he was under a lot of pressure from Transonics and Chaotic Purpose. And so far, more Wolves and Transonics have been really dictating the pace of the game. You see that the Tier 1 tower in Soul Lane has already dropped. They're the ones that are deciding where the fights happen and what's doing all the damage.
And no anti-heal at all for SOAR yet. And that's pretty crazy to me. No Brawler's Beat Sticks, no Divine Ruin, no Pestilence even. Divine Ruin, maybe not the call for Shaliber, but it's certainly a Brawler's for Relating or Stormy. Definitely for Relating at the very least in the jungle. A Pestilence for either one instead of the Genji's Guard for Stormy, instead of the Genji's for Medieval as well. Not respecting the amount of healing that Guan Yu can do really surprises me, because the console scene is very familiar with how dominant Guan Yu can be. Already, look at that, 8,000 healing. That's plenty.
And it feels like so far here, Asheville Authority been the ones starting all these engagements as more Wolves goes on to Shaliber in the back line just to get some poke off on them. They were the ones starting up the Portal Demon, the ones starting up the Gold Fury, recognizing their big advantage in solo lane from more Wolves and putting in the best they can from Transonics on top of that as well.
And that's exactly what Asheville Authority loves to do. Get Wolves a lead, and you don't have to work too hard to do it, because Wolves is, at least in my mind, the unquestionable best solo laner on console right now. He's been dominant for over a year now in that solo lane, so it's not uncommon for him to get a big lead and then transition it to his longtime teammate on the other side of the map, Transonics.
And Asheville Authority recognize this Portal Demon is up. I think that's why they're playing aggressive here in the mid lane, getting that poke out, trying to do what they can to establish pressure here so they can come back over and force a team fight on the objective where they've been doing so well so far. I mean, Warm Wolves is way up in SOAR's jungle.
Has that rage form as well with the ultimate still available, and he's going to use it on a Medieval and Stormy. Not a lot of damage onto those frontliners as Relating picks up the speed buff that Stormy secured with that Hand of the Gods.
And now we're back to that parity moment. The vision control here over on that solo lane side does seem to be pretty handily in control of SOAR Gaming. They got a sentry there right in that Fire Giant pit, as well as that as a regular ward up at the top. Oracle's here on the left-hand side also going to SOAR Gaming, as the Gold Fury's not too far away. It's only at 40 seconds, but Portal Demon's down below half. Stormy Rays and Shaliber are around here to try and contest it. Once again, Covey commits the ultimate and is able to secure it, but Shaliber puts the ultimate over the top, trying to claim Covey's life. He does get the slow out here, does Stormy Rays, but it's not enough. Covey's able to escape here. Brochacho, the one that's low and in the back, and Relating tries to get the knock, a good dash to create some distance, but now it's Brochacho trying to turn it back around and Relating.
Covey still on the run, Relating up into the Somersault Cloud. Covey no Aegis, uses the backfire. Bluestone not going to do it. The clone's still chasing Covey all the way into the fountain. but his team ends up saving his life. With the portal up, Transonic's able to just go and insert himself right into this team fight.
Relating committing so much there to try and take down Covey, but now Shalibur's in trouble. Once again, the slow coming out on more Wolves was quite potent, but not enough to prevent the death of Shalibur here as Transonic starts putting in damage on Medieval Doc, who was just trying to help his mid laner.
Love that play from Chaotic Purpose. Actually interrupts the dash from Medieval Doc, crippling him in place mid-dash with that Feather Step. Really well timed.
And now Astral Authority is free to take this Fire Giant, which is already down to half health. Relating and Keegs, though, are around. They definitely have enough damage to try and steal this away if not properly zoned. More Wolves, though, commits the ultimate there to try and keep more Wolves from fighting back, but they do end up taking it. Stormy Rays takes away that Fire Giant, so good job slowing down the pressure from Astral Authority. That was huge.
Just a little Spirit Flail right over the top. Wolves tries and zones him away with that knockup, but can't stop him from getting in range for that, too. That must have done, I don't know, 300-400 damage. Someone from Astral Authority either has to help Wolves zone in that situation or do a better job of securing in that scenario.
And it's tough because Covey had committed that ultimate earlier as Keegs under a lot of pressure here on the right-hand side, has to use his ultimate in response to the ultimate from Elbow Chacho. Trying to solo contest this Gold Fury at this point. Now he has his beads and his Aegis forced out, but Shalibur's ultimate's available. He's trying to rotate in and put in damage, but the low members of Astral Authority are too far away. Now it's Relating once again, going up into that Summer Cloud just for damage and taking down Covey.
And Bro Chacho as well. Relating and his twin brother going in, finding the double kill. Keegs is going to clean up Transonics by the Gold Fury. And Astral Authority looked like they were going to run away with this one potentially, as Chaotic Purpose might end up falling. Shalibur not going aggressive with the Thunder Crash because Wolves was waiting for him. But another Gold Fury, this time it's Source.
And now Wolves is trying to go in and take down the Shalibur, who's low on HP, but with 4 members here, they're doing a good job separating the two and putting out plenty of damage. Ultimate comes out from that Rage form. Shalibur trying to stay in the back and also putting in damage to avoid getting taken out. He does dash out at the last minute, and more Wolves ends up getting taken out. And now the kill, it's 11-9. This fight has gone front to back in favor of SOAR Gaming, who are up now 2K gold, but I thought Keegs was nuts to go in and try and solo contest the Gold Fury, but it goes way in their favor.
It ends up that his team was waiting for him, and everyone else was on the way from SOAR. And remember, SOAR had Fire Giant. Astral had a very slight lead before this, but with Fire, SOAR really should be the one who ends up taking the team fights, and that's exactly what happens. Covey just gets chased down a little bit too quickly, can't make an impact with the ultimate at all, just tries to throw it to do damage before he falls. Good idea, but doesn't end up finding a home. Bro Chacho wasn't able to save his own life either. Now this Fire Giant team for SOAR could end up being a little bit too much for Astral to handle.
And outside of more Wolves, SOAR Gaming are in control of all the level leads here. Even Keegs, ahead of Transonics, has been playing very well and very aggressively here all game. Now it's Keegs who's 4-1-1 with that Rod to Tahuti finished, and the Obsidian Charge to bring some extra penetration.
Only one Rod done at 28.5 minutes with 4 characters that should be building it. Just a little bit too late for everyone who isn't Keegs mate in my mind. I mean, Transonics going for extra pen. Sure, that's not going to hurt him. The Obsidian Shard, not a bad idea in this scenario. Would have rather seen Spear the Magus because that means that Covey's going to end up doing more damage to these targets as well. But Trans needs Rod. He needs that extra big burst. Shalibur getting some anti-heal here, a good idea, and Relating does as well. A little late, but ends better late than never, I suppose. But Shalibur could be doing a lot more damage if he was able to pick up that Rod of Tahuti a little bit earlier. If you wait until your 6th item to be getting Rod, sometimes you're out of the game before you even get to that point. You can always use that Rod passive. It always applies. If you build items after Rod of Tahuti, they still get an extra boost of power from that Rod of Tahuti passive. I think that these mages needed a little bit earlier.
Tier 1 tower on the right has already fallen as SOAR Gaming takes Tier 2 uncontested here at about the 30-minute mark here in this game. They do still have the Fire Giant buff on 3 of their members here, perhaps on Keegs, the most important one, as they continue to try and shred some of these objectives. Looks like they're grouping up here in the mid lane as Transonics is way over in the left hand trying to just secure some farm.
No, only about 15 seconds left on the Fire Giant. That's why you see SOAR decide to back up and not push it. Transonics loves to split push, but on the Freya, it's a lot less intimidating than it would be on a physical hunter. It takes him a long time to get those towers.
Engagement happening. More Wolves already brought down to half health, as is Chaotic Purpose, who's very low. Shalibur, though, gets taken down by more Wolves very early, but it's nice. Chaotic Purpose is in trouble in the back. He's able to immune out tons of damage, but Stormy Rays does end up cleaning him up, but it takes a much bigger commitment now. More Wolves able to take out Keegs' mate ultimate, and he's in a lot of trouble in the back. Gets that rage for him, and now he has a second ultimate available to try and disrupt the rest of the team fight.
Wolves still alive. That perfectly timed transformation, juking for his life. The heals coming from Brochacho. Relating finally going to pick up that kill, but Transonics made his way all the way from left lane, and he showed up at the perfect time.
And that's because they made this team fight last so long. Excellent place for Chaotic Purpose and more Wolves to get Transonics a chance to come in and have a big impact here in the team fight. And now he's in between cooldowns fighting Stormy Rays. Now he has them available. Covey able to clean him up, relating a Transonics up into that Valkyrie's Discretion to take down Stormy Rays.
Both Chaotic Purpose and Wolves live forever.
Yes.
Chaotic Purpose lives because he immunes a ton of damage with that Feather Step, gets a knock-up. That means SOAR has to chase him a little bit deeper. Also, great job by Astral Authority to destroy Shaliber before he got his ultimate off or a relic off. I mean, that was a huge pick to start that team fight off in Astral Authority's favor. Wolves, the perfectly timed transformation as well, gives him that big burst of health and that health shield, which kept him alive. Good healing from Brochacho as well.
Medieval Doc doing a good job slowing them down to allow Shaliber to come in, but still not enough as they do end up securing the Portal Demon. Looks like Shaliber uses bees there on that right-hand side, so those won't be available as Covey does finally clean up Medieval Doc.
Nice knock up there by Chaotic Purpose. Shaliber a little bit preemptive on the beads, so now he has to be even more worried about that Willish ultimate because Chaotic Purpose didn't even fire it off. Medieval Doc falling means that now it's only 2 members here, and Shaliber has no intention of contesting. Keegsmate's on the other side of the map. Astral Authority this time secure their own Fire Giant.
And that last fight was so important for Astral Authority because the game had kind of swung into SOAR Gaming's favor. They're the ones that stole the Fire Giant. But more Wolves, Chaotic Purpose surviving so long allows Transonic to come in on the backside of that team fight. It ends up being huge for them. Now they're the ones with Fire Giant, taking down the tier 1 in mid lane, and now aggressing the tier 2 here in mid. More Wolves jumps in and immediately gets the knockup onto Relating, who takes about 40% of his HP, but it's the tower the one who's really in trouble. They're not able to get the last bit of damage off of it as Keegs is now here, and he's the main damage dealer for SOAR.
This is the problem with having a Frey in that Hunter role and no Hunter in mid lane. To have pretty poor tower push. Covey going to be able to clean it up there in the mid lane, and that could be another reason why we see Transonics go for Obsidian Shard instead of something like Spear of the Magus, just trying to augment that tower push.
Chaotic Purpose over here doing a bit of a split push, bringing the tier 2 in the solo lane down very low. Ultimate from Shaliber already coming out here, and Brochacho is low. That's why he's on the horse, and he's running away. He actually turns back, though, and comes in as more Wolves is in the back.
Finds 5 man with that ultimate. Covey not off the mark, though, with the Earthshaker, and Wolves still on the run, relating up into the Somersault Cloud. Won't be able to close that gap, but Brochacho is going to fall to the jungler for SOAR. That anti-heal from the Brawler's Beatstick coming up big.
Relating, getting a good kill there onto El Brochacho. Now it's 5v4 here, despite Astral Authority being the one to the Fire Giant. Transonics caught out. Aegis and Valkyrie Discretion used there to try and stay alive, but it was not enough. That ends up being a 2-for-0 in favor of SOAR Gaming, who are now storming down the mid lane.
We always talk about it when it comes to Transonics. He loves to position a little bit differently than most other hunters, likes to come in from the side, from the back, try and position more like an assassin, and there are times where it makes him have highlight reel plays, and there are times where he's surrounded by 4 people and no one on his team can help him. A little bit of the ladder there for him as Brochacho had already fallen. Covey just wasn't able to make an impact.
Covey actually gets 3 members with that Magma Bomb. That knockup was big, allowing for Chaotic Purpose to get off the pole. Medieval Doc dropping there to more Wolves, but Stormy Rays in the back lines does clean up Covey for his indiscretions. Now it's more Wolves coming towards Shaliber, who's very, very low, but he does have Relating here to try and help, and Keegs coming in as well with the damage, getting the stun off. It's enough, and damage over the top. Shaliber, though, actually still in danger. More Wolves trying to catch him, but Shaliber does end up cleaning up that kills.
Good call there by his team to let Shaliber know, hey, you can just turn around and jump on him. He's probably going to die as Relating goes in underneath the tower, but Chaotic Purpose did just use that Feather Step, so he knows he's safe. Shaliber is going to see Wolves running at him in his dreams tonight, in his nightmares. That's all we've been saying all game, but SOAR's done a good job of helping out their mid laner.
Brochacho catches Keegs before the ultimate can actually go off, so no rewind. Actually getting a bit of a double kill here as he also takes down Stormy Rays. So now this fight swings back a little bit in favor of Astral Authority, though SOAR Gaming do pick up that tier 2 tower in mid.
Just took them a little bit too long to decide what they wanted to do after they find that kill onto Wolves, and a lot of that is Wolves just wasting SOAR's time. They know he might get that kill onto Shaliber, he might not, but it means that SOAR is dedicating the limited time they have with Brochacho and Transonics dead to chasing him. And it ends up, yes, SOAR gets the tier 2, but they lose 2 members for it. This opens up the Gold Fury. This opens up positioning around the Fire Giant as well, except Portal Demon's going to be respawning sooner rather than later, and they won't have Stormy Rays or Keegsmade to help them win the ward battle.
Our players are all getting very close here to being 6th slotted. Looks like Shaliber still has a little bit of ways to go because his build is quite expensive here at this point. He did find a way to fit in that Divine Ruin, though, to try and shut down some of the healing coming out from El Brochacho. So continue to see an impact from that as this goes on. And
I like the Runic Shield from Wolves in this game, making sure that he can decrease the magical power of both Raijin and Kronos. Sure, against Terra as well, though that's a little bit less impactful. Just trying to make sure that those guys are going to do as little to him and his teammates as possible. Relic Dagger for him as well. Just a little bit more curious. Horrific Emblem and Thorns, not 2 items that I feel like you want to have up all the time. Thorns maybe more so than that Horrific Emblem, but if you can get Sprint with 1 Horrific and then have it up before the enemy's Sprint is ready to go, could be a big play.
Fire Giant here has fallen off about last 30 seconds for all those who still had it on the side of SOAR, and it's 30 seconds from respawning here on this right-hand side. This is going to be a big fight as Portal Demon spawns up first, and SOAR have almost the entire positioning control. Only more Wolves who's coming up to try and contest. He goes in, and SOAR Gaming almost immediately pull off it and start going for the engagement here on the Wolves.
Transonics not able to find damage yet because Wolves is on the enemy backline. Chaotic Purpose jumps after relating, finds a knockup and the gravity surge in, forces relating up into the Somersault Cloud. There's a couple ultimates traded by junglers, but no kills.
Having that ultimate not available for relating can be very big there for him. Relating is very far forward and also low, but that's just the DK for him. Now it looks like the sprint has come out for Chaotic Purpose, who's trying to go in and have more of an impact. Brochacho forced into the ultimate and had to back up on relating. Without that ultimate, gets taken down by Transonic. So far, this fight is 1-0 in favor of Asheville Authority as Transonic goes up into the air, and Kobe gets the credit there onto Keegs.
Big damage onto Keegs, and then again onto Shaliber. Transonics with the ult shots. Covey with a double kill, and Astral Authority just like that find 4 out of 5 members of SOAR Gaming. Transonics just baked so much in that team fight. He got very low, chased down on the right-hand side, but it's only Relating who really kept track of Transonics, and Trans just gobbled him up, ate him alive. There's a late-game Freya who's full build now, has that Rod of Tahuti, can do that damage. You saw how much work that Bancroft's Talon came in big for him there, finishing off those low-health members, because he's low health himself, gets that extra boost of power. That Valkyrie's discretion to swing it.
And Chaotic Purpose single-handedly forcing the ultimate out of relating on that left-hand side was huge too. That way when Transonics commits onto him, there's no way for him to go into the Somersault Cloud to escape, as that right side Phoenix does come crashing down. Only Medieval Doc here standing in that Titan room to try and keep SOAR Gaming in it. But Asheville Authority take down the Titan, take down the